It says there would be no need for a referendum. Nonetheless, it has started collecting the 1 million signatures it needs. So unifying has the cause been that it's helped forge a truce between our guest today, Senator Bonny of Kakamega, and that county's Governor Wycliffe Oparanya. We'll come to that in a moment. But before the break, we were talking about equity and inclusivity, the final issue. Yes. So a couple of messages from our viewers. Honorable Khalwale, tell them the truth. Kenya is the most unequal society in the world. Tribalism and land issues are just but time bombs waiting to destroy this country. We need more leaders like you. Barchok in Kericho. But there was a question here about equity. Mheshimiwa should not lie. I'm a teacher from Kiambu, and I waited for 9 years, while my college mates from his area waited for only 3 and 4 years. Is that equity?
I don't understand. That could be an exception. I want to agree with that young teacher. It could be an exception. What he should understand is that that is a reflection, again, of how a deliberate effort has been made to admit more children from Kiambu into teachers' training colleges. And now when Kiambu is given its quota to employ, it means that it has too many children from Kiambu to employ from, and therefore they have to queue for a longer time. If the admission into TTCs was also being done equitably, then Kiambu would be finding that it has got just more or less the same number of children that come out of the TTCs like Kakamega, where I come from. On average in Kakamega, our children take around 4 years. In Bungoma, the same period, because of the number of children who come out. So Kiambu children, you are not suffering because you are being discriminated against. It is because you are too many. Too many of you have been
favored.
You are favored. You are favored to join college. Yeah. If you had not been favored, if you had not been favored,
that is not very comforting.
You would not be having a problem. And I'll tell you,
comforting to
some of the young girls.
We're laughing, but
it's a very serious matter.
Yes.
Some of the young girls, let me tell you, and I have seen it. They come, Kikuyu girls, they come in some of the areas where we don't have a lot of trained teachers. They swear affidavits with border boys as their wives, so that they say, I come from Shinyalu because I'm married to this border boy. As soon as she's employed, of course, the border boy has earned his bit, then she attempts to go away. The moment she goes away, the teacher shortage remains. And Mwalimu, if you want to remember, look at the last advertisement. Kakamega, Bungoma were leading in the number of places that are supposed to recruit teachers, because people are cleverly recruited through that kind of awkward and corrupt manner, so that after 1 year they go away. Staffing problems remain in those areas purely because of a refusal to accept the principle of equity in a multi-ethnic society like Kenya.
The other point you made before the break also was that certain dockets are populated by members of one community.
Yes, yes.
And there are those who would disagree with you.
Yes.
Back that up.
Yes, I mentioned several sectors, but let me speak to two, if it may help. I want to speak to the issue of the State Law Office. The State Law Office of Kenya, the head is from Kiambu, is Professor Kidongigai. Solicitor General is a former PA of the President from Kiambu. When they were recruiting this PA, they bypassed professionals who have grown in the system in the State Law Office simply because they wanted a homeboy to be given the opportunity. This cannot be acceptable.
But somebody will tell you it was competitive vetting and interviewing. Well, advertised positions applied, people interviewed.
Yes.
Should somebody be discriminated against?
Yes, I love that, because all of the four of us who are here come from Kenya, and we know how competitiveness is done. We've just come from police recruitment, where there was competitive recruitment of people, and you saw the outcry. Corruption makes competitive recruitment nonsense. So as I was saying, the deputy is Violet Kimani. That is the State Law Office for you. Now, if a junior person wants to be promoted, and these three guys are the ones who are at the top, how on earth are they going to benefit? And I must blame
Are you
the
saying that there would
presidency.
be discrimination against juniors wanting to be promoted as a result of the 3 top people coming from the same community?
Yes, because they have been beneficiaries of ethnicity, and therefore when now they are discharging, they should also demonstrate ethnic loyalty.
Not necessarily.
A bigger example and more disturbing to Kenyans is the current, the new appointment of the Director General of NIS, National Intelligence Service.
Proposed.
Yes, proposed. He's going to be hired. He's going through the tyranny of numbers. He's as good as taken. In fact, he better be sworn in. They're just wasting good money. There's no way to fall. Mr. Wachira Kamweru is a distinguished Kameru. He's a distinguished general in the army, no doubt. However, he is not the only distinguished Kenyan. What reason could the president give Kenyans why he refused to promote people within the NIS who are deputizing Kishangi and who are better qualified than General Kameru? The only reason could be that these 3, the top 3, there are actually 8 assistants, but the top 3 in terms of qualification, I happen to know them. One is a Maasai, he's called Kosen. He was bypassed. The next one is a Mukamba called Mativo. He was bypassed. And the third one is Muteshi. He was bypassed. A Muluya from Kakamega. So if the president was not bending all the way backwards to accommodate Mount Kenya appointees, he should tell us what other reason he has.
Is it that he's bending over backwards, or that he wants some fresher opinion? I mean, you say yourself that Gishangi has been retired under what circumstances we don't know, but these were his principal assistants. And so who's to say that, we're not doing away with Gishangi's legacy and trying to create a new legacy by bringing in someone different?
Gishangi was not retired because he was inefficient. He was retired because of political expediency. It is the same Gishangi who told the president that El-Shabaab was responsible in Lamu. And presidential spin doctors chose to say it could be attributed to local political networks. Let me emphasize this.
But you've just said before the break that land was a factor in Lamu.
If the president was saying political networks, but we are the ones who are saying ethnic, historical land injustices. It's a very complex thing.
So if you say Gishangi said it was Al-Shabaab, was Gishangi right?
Yes. Because he concurred with the intelligence of the United States, he concurred with the intelligence of the UK and the intelligence of Israel. Those are the people who have got hands-on on the movements of Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab. Now, this point of Major Gishangi, let me deceive us Kenyans that he was removed for inefficiency. He was just as efficient as his deputies. He was removed for political expediency. Those of us who analyze the political events of this country, we know that it is NIS that gave the intelligence that Waki used to write the so-called the Waki report that went to ICC. Even if you were the president, you would not be comfortable to have a director who ordered something that took you to ICC.
Well,
this one I forgive the president.
Hasn't it been the clamoring, Bonny, of the opposition and critics of government security operations, that we need a reform of that sector?
And overall,
how then, when the president moves, you'll be accused of, again, being a fervent critic without end?
A solution.
That when they remove one of the people you are saying should be removed, you say again, he was victimized. And how can a reform of an institution be only the top person?
Exactly. Now, I am one of the people who faced the president, back home, on this issue of the need to restructure national security. Yeah. When I said this, I was not saying that Gishangi was inefficient. I was saying, Mr. President, you have to address it if you have an opportunity, so that the national security structure has got the face of Kenya. Do you know the deliberation of the National Security Council can be done in one ethnic vernacular? And it will be done and everybody will be listening and it will end. That is how defective it is. That's what we were saying. So now that Kishangi was exiting, he had an opportunity to pick that Mukamba, an opportunity to pick that Masai, an opportunity to pick this lawyer, to introduce a fresh face in that particular structure. And with all due respect, these are things which are real on the ground, and we cannot run away from them. I don't want to be the Luya president who will sack everybody and then bring on Luya so that we do what others have done before us. The challenge that Kameru is going to be faced with is that Kishangi is not just an individual. He had trained and promoted a lot of professionals along the system. They'll owe their allegiance to Kishangi because they see that it's wrong for them to be bypassed and you bring somebody from the military. Kwani hakuna nafasi huko kwa military.
Going by history, you'll know that Bonny was brought from outside.
Yes.
Kishangi was brought from outside.
Exactly.
And the other guy, Kamaru, has been brought from outside. So it is not a new thing. And
It is
when
not
you
new.
are being brought from outside, there were officers there before.
It is not, yes, that is true. It is not new. And this is why we are saying we have simply now given Moi an opportunity to reinvent himself. It is Moi who is teaching our guys, because they are his political orphans, that this is the way to do it. I removed from the army, you can also remove from the army. I'm not saying that the head of state cannot make his own decisions, but even me,
Maybe he's
when my
borrowing
professors
from-
of medicine speak to me, I pay attention. That is their professor of politics.
But they are borrowing from best practices. It would seem.
And then, Makali, if you can call Moi the best practices, then God save the youth of this country.
Okay. Sir, quite a few of our viewers are concerned with some of the opinions you're putting forward. We'll take this one. You're a shameless tribalist. Why is the senator so bitter, and what he utters about his tribe? Anataka nini impeachment? There's several people who feel that what you're saying verges on hate speech against people of one community, but also that it's quite divisive in a country with a history such as Kenya's.
I am in a position to speak about it, but others are in a position to do something about it. What is the greater sin? To speak against what is wrong or to perpetuate what is wrong? It is the person who is perpetuating tribal and regional imbalance within the public service that is sinning. I am only raising it so that even if it is just for the sake of naming and shaming, it can give them an opportunity
On
to
that,
avoid
matter
repeating.
of security, let's go beyond now NIS.
Yes.
What other, before they happen,
Yes.
what would you like to see in terms of reform or restructuring of those structures or
What-
leadership of the institution?
What will happen is that the people currently in those positions, they deserve those positions, but they are doing it at the expense of other communities. So if we create quotas, then over a period of time, you cannot do it one-off. Over a period of time, the people will be weaned out so that they end up to their own quota. Because wananchi saa zingine,
What do you mean by
fikiri-
weaning out?
you wean off people, like over a period of 5 years, where a particular ethnic community is concentrated. When somebody is retired and is from that community, you now bring in somebody from another region or another community. That is weaning off rather than sacking people. If you sack people, you can't destroy people's livelihoods.
But weaning sounds so clean, whereas what you're saying actually
Yes.
is to get people out of the system because of their ethnicity,
No.
because of their origins. What are you saying then?
What I'm saying, by winning, I mean that
Gradual
as an opportunity arises, like when Kishangi left, the president now had an opportunity to win by bringing in somebody from another ethnic community. That's exactly what I mean. And so that wananchi cannot think that we are speaking about the big jobs in Nairobi. Let's take, for example, the current flawed recruitment of the police officers. It was tabled in the Senate, and wananchi might have seen it because it was live. 17% of the recruits were from the Kalenjin community. 7% from the Kikuyu community. 4% from the Luo community. And the balance others. So you can see, from 17 to 7, It simply means because the top man, Kimayo, is a Kalenjin, he's going all out of his way to hog opportunities for our youth. And if you don't stop him, he will repeat it next year, the year after. So the only way to stop him is not by talking perpetually about it. People will say this man always complains. Now that I know, we provide the solution through the law. The law to demand that there be quotas. Police officers, when they are being recruited, you say, okay, what is the current population of the Bonny of Mombasa in the police? And what would be their quota? Can we top it up?
How do you respond to this? You defend that population and density becomes the merit for qualification above academic merit. Is this your concept of equity? Would it be my fault that I'm born into a highly populated part of Kenya? Someone else echoes that. What is the matter with you? You should be promoting Kenyans and qualifications, not tribalism and tribes. Why are you even talking about tribes? We are Kenyans.
Exactly. I have not mentioned any tribe to its detriment, but I want to assure that guy, that professional from whatever community he's talking about, that I come from one of the most highly populated communities in this country. And we have got a very high number of professionals in all fields. Luos have, Kambas have, Kalenjins have. So it's not a question of saying you are qualified. Even if you are qualified, there are other people of your qualifications who would fill their quota if we allowed the quota to be there. What I am doing is that I'm telling you today what could happen 10, 15, 20 years from now when people get fed up and they say we cannot allow this to continue.
And so how will the referendum address this?
Yes, the referendum now, because it wants to speak to equity and inclusivity, will allow us, after people have given us signatures, for us to put into the bill now, because there will be a bill that for which people will vote, how the matter of quotas, for example, could be introduced in. If we did it for marginalized communities, we put in the constitution. If we did it for women, we actually put it 1/3. What is so difficult in putting in a quota in respect of the numerical strength of a particular ethnic community? And you know, if we allow it this way, what people don't know is that the second largest community is Luhya, my community. And the fastest growing community is Luhya, my community. So when we overtake and we come number one, do you want us also to visit the country with this kind of injustice? It reads nonsense to me.
Well, regarding the...
I would like to conclude it by what Mandela said. When Mandela was sentenced to life imprisonment, people were belittling him the way this viewer is belittling me. And Mandela told those whites that I am against discrimination against blacks just as much as I am against discrimination against whites. So as I say, I am against marginalization of smaller communities, I'm also against marginalization of big communities. You can also be marginalized when you are a big community. Namely, if the president then happens to come from a minority community and he comes for your threat and there is no law to protect you, he will marginalize you even when you're the majority.
Very quickly, before we take a break, a very good analysis by Dr. Khalwale, but let us be aware that he's a politician, just like other Kenyan politicians who speak out because they are in opposition. When you were in government, why didn't you shout, we need transformational leadership and not transitional?
I had an opportunity to demonstrate exactly what you have asked for. In the last parliament, everybody was in government. And I chose, as a matter of principle, that we should create some semblance of an opposition to President Kibaki and Raila. It was very difficult. I remember I was joined by Ababu Namwamba. Before Mother Karua was sacked, she joined us later. Kitopi Manyara, Danson Mungatana, and John Mbadi. We formed
Martha Karua wasn't sacked, she resigned.
Oh, okay, before she resigned and joined. Thanks for the correction. So we formed a semblance of oppositions, and Kenyans will remember how successfully we fought corruption to the extent that we removed Kimunya. And that time people thought we were being driven by some ethnic consideration, but it has come to pass. The same minister has been arraigned in court after he has left his high office. We prosecuted the case of maize scandal by the current deputy president. He never cleared himself. They only used numbers of the assembly to kill the initiative to remove him from office. We prosecuted the issue of Professor Ndungu on how he was running the Central Bank of Kenya by way of the Dilaru money printing currency. They bought out members of parliament at that time. I complained loudly. Kenyans heard me. But today, Professor Ndungu is in court for exactly the same things. So we have demonstrated that we are committed to Kenya. It's not a question of personalities. When the issue of Tokyo, and now let me come to my own tribe, and Moses Wetangula was mentioned as having been involved in that scandal in Tokyo. Yeah. I and Honorable Kanan, we are the ones who led Parliament in resolving that Wetangula should step aside until it's cleared. I did it. Wetangula is a lawyer. When Mudavadi, the one I joined in his presidential ambition, was found with money for graves, I led. Kenyans saw me stand against Mudavadi and tell him, you have to tell us what happened to this money. When it comes to corruption, I'm not driven by ethnic consideration. I try to do what is Kenyan.
Okay,
yeah.
So you're pushing for this referendum, which is fronted by the court principal Raila Odinga. Yeah. You've talked to us about the equity or lack of thereof in several government ministries. Emilio in Runyenjes asks, please confirm to us the lineup of staff in the former Prime Minister's office. Please promote the Okoa-Raila referendum without bringing in ethnicity. So there are two issues there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I cannot take blame for the lineup of officers in Raila's office when he was Prime Minister. But I can tell the viewer what I did about it. I remember one hot afternoon when I pinned down Raila after I had asked the Prime Minister then, during the Prime Minister's question time, to table the names in the office of the President and in the office of the Prime Minister. I deliberately wanted to embarrass both of them because they were simply sitting and sharing positions. The second part of the question is
Okoa-Raila. That the referendum...
Let me put it this way. The second part of the question is an attempt to now start confusing Kenyans to think that the referendum is Raila's referendum. If the referendum was Raila's referendum, it would be code-driven. The referendum is driven by Okoa Kenya movement, which we carefully launched on 7th of July this year. That is why other players, including other losing presidential candidates like Martha Karua and so on, and civil society, have found comfort and joined us. Are you telling me Martha, knowing how so different they are in terms of opinion by Raila, would come and be led by Raila? It's not the case. I am there, I'm UDF, Wetangula is for Kenya, Raila is ODM, Wiper is there, Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua is there, the civil society is there, the religious society is there.
They lost the bid to own government. That is the argument. They lost their bid to take government.
Oh, that is their big
congregation
of losers.
Of losers at the 2013 election.
Well,
for the presidency.
At 2013 election, I was not a presidential candidate, and I'm a very strong proponent of Okoa Kenya. So if it was a conglomeration of presidential losers, I wasn't a presidential candidate. And also on the side of Jubilee, we also have a conglomeration of presidential candidates saying no. We have Mudavadi is there. The president himself was a presidential candidate. Ruto was a presidential candidate. They're also there on the other side. We have presidential. It just happens that the most visible presidential candidates on either side are the ones who are being noticed. But other smaller entities like the Bullfighter are also there, and we have a significant role.
But very quickly then, let's just be clear about this. Do you have a party? Because you seem to be on the court side, but the party that sponsored you to Parliament is on the other side. So what's your exact status?
It is because of the confusion in the political arena. I am a member of UDF. And in the meaning of the Political Parties Act, which I have read, which I participated in legislating, and which I understand, I am a member of UDF. However, because of political expediency, there are those who are shouting, throw Khalwale out of UDF. On what account?
Actually, there's a move to have you recalled.
Yes, I can only be recalled under the law if I am promoting the agenda of another political party.
Which
I am not.
You are promoting the agenda of God.
CORD is not a political party.
It's an alliance.
CORD is a coalition.
Yeah.
And the law is very clear. That is Section 14, subsection 5, D and E, and subsection 6. They say that discipline cannot be visited on a member if it is in connection with a coalition. So, in this case, I am dealing purely with the coalition called
It was presumed
CORD.
to be a coalition within which your party is affiliated, in which case it will be a money coalition, not CORD coalition.
let me tell you, there is something which is even more clear, which I'm about to tell you, that the coalition then
Yes.
that you are bound to is the coalition that was formed before the elections. Pre-election coalition is binding because as people voted for you, they remembered that you are in that coalition. So you won their confidence partly because of yourself, your party, or the coalition. But if it is a post-election, then it carries nonsense. The agreement between UDF and Jubilee is post-election. When people of Kakamega were voting for Bonny Khalwale, they knew he had absolutely nothing to do with the Jubilee. So if you now want to force me to join them, I am going against those people. They will tell me I'm an Unliwa. And there's nothing as dangerous as to be bought in politics. Okay. You lose in the morning.
Okay, I have to take a break now because the show's almost up and I haven't taken the second break. This is Cheche, live on Citizen TV. We'll be back after this break with Senator Bonny Khalwale of Kakamega.